There's an epic quality, perhaps, to this ballet, certainly to Bernstein's music. It really shows Bernstein off, I think, at the highest level of his classical music composition and his show music as well. There's a great deal of drive, and then a great deal of beauty. You feel his enthusiasm and his passion. He was one of the great conductors and composers of the time. I'm using the Serenade after Plato's Symposium, which is essentially a violin concerto in 5 movements. Its virtuosity is, I think, probably pretty unmatched as far as the solo violin part. Bernstein wasn't afraid to be a showman, even in his classical repertoire, and so he goes from the quiet, contemplative, gentle, very tender passages of music to these kind of bombastic, dynamic, rhythmic passages, which is very exciting to dance, but I suppose even more exciting to create to, because you can pull apart all the different layers of the music and then make them visual through movement. This piece was written 4 years before West Side Story, so at a very prolific moment in his career. And it's funny because every now and then there'll be a violin melody that will sound like it could turn into Maria, or a rhythmic underpinning that feels like the dance at the gym. So you can feel him veering off towards, of course, that great, great masterwork, West Side Story. Okay, here we go. Ready, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Unless you create that tension, for that round, it doesn't work. So you've got to actually connect with your guy. I told the dancers the other day that they have to kind of feel like it has the spirit of the first Olympics, in a sense. That kind of male dominant physicality laced with homoerotic tenderness. Do you mind me being just on the ground? There are aspects of love that kind of permeate through the piece. It needs that. And there's definitely a feeling of some sort of ancient society. The Corybants were acolytes of a Phrygian goddess. And so I wanted the piece to feel like this was a gathering where people could celebrate through, music and dance. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3.
I met Christopher years ago. We spent a few years kind of going to each other's shows. He has such a clear idea of what he wants, but also allows a kind of an organic process to happen. I was really interested in exploring this idea of the kind of dressed, undressed, and the idea of skin and underpinnings and underwear. Those were all things that I found really inspiring in terms of the costumes. Initially, there was so much more layering, kind of alluding to 50s clothing in general. It then became much more of a kind of a pure idea of kind of underwear and skin.
We started playing with very sheer tulle that would hold pleats, so they're very, very tightly pleated tulle skirts. So in a way, they're quite traditional in sort of a ballet sense, but contemporary because they're so sheer. And he's done something very clever, which is to edge the bottom of them with black satin ribbon. And so what you get is you almost get a pencil line left in space. So a leg will move, and then you'll just get a line that follows. And it's really, really beautiful. I haven't made a non-narrative ballet in a long time, actually. And so getting to just make pure dance, a very personal response to a great piece of music, without actually having to very specifically tell a story, has been very special for me.